So last night's new moon was in the sign of Leo. Why this matters is because Leo is a fire sign, and this new moon made a trine to Mars. Mars is the planet of will, aggression, sex, attraction, ambition, assertiveness, war, conflict, all of that. So it also trined the galactic center, and if you've watched any of my videos, then you know that this particular point in our galaxy, it's where we're getting downloads from other great stars. It's very important. And because we have this trine, and because this galactic center is conjunct something called the South Node, which is about our past, this new moon, to really use it to manifest, first we need to purify and clear. Now, that looks like a lot of different things to a lot of different people. You can sage and you can write letters and you can burn them. But particularly what I want to talk about today is purifying our intentions. So I work with people one-on-one, like a life coach or a spiritual coach. And one of the things that people bring to me is they have desires and they feel like they're working on them and they're doing everything right, but they're not coming to fruition. They feel like they're blocked in some way. And oftentimes what we find is that it's not so much our ability to manifest that's the problem. It's that the very intention of our goal or what it is that we want is not purified, meaning it's not coming from our heart. So how do we purify our intentions? First, I want to give you guys a couple of breath work ideas that you can work with that gets you connected to your center, but can also burn away some of the ego that oftentimes colors what we desire and what we want to bring into our life. So the first thing I want all of you to do is to place a hand on your heart and a hand on your lower belly. So when I say belly, I mean like between your pubic bone and your belly button, right there. So when you place your hands, which are literally like portals of healing, when you place them together like this, what you're signaling to your body is that you want these two energetic centers to be in harmony. This center where your lower hand is on your lower belly, this is the center of how we create. This is where our creative like organs literally are. If you're a woman, it's where your uterus and your ovaries are. And this up here is our heart center. And we want these things to be connected so that what we're creating in our life actually serves what we truly, truly want. So I want you to take a big deep breath into both of your hands, into both of these places. So some people are like, I can't think in two places, but I want you to try today. You inhale through both hands. And you exhale through the mouth. And if you can, don't get in trouble if you're at work, people. But if you can, I want you to exhale through your mouth and make a sound. And we're just going to do this for like 10 breaths together. And you want to feel that hand of the lower belly. You want to feel your belly pushing up against that hand. So keep going. Inhale and exhale through your mouth. Inhale and exhale through your mouth. Keep doing this as I'm talking. So when we're combining these energy centers, what we're also saying is we want to align our ability to desire with our heart. So sometimes we have these desires, right? But it doesn't mean that that desire is going to fill our heart. Like the instant gratification, right? That cigarette, that drink, that random whatever, that may not actually fill our heart in the end. So when we're asking for these two places to align, we're saying we want what we desire to align with our heart. So hot here. Okay, as we breathe in, I want you to imagine, and we did this in the last meditation as well, that where your hand on your heart is this green bubble of light. And where the lower hand is on your lower belly, it is an orange bubble of light. And I want you to imagine, and you take your hands away, and I want you to combine them in front of you, whatever that's like for you. It's kind of like in your imagination, you're combining this green and orange light. And then I want you to imagine that you get very small and you enter this bubble of light in your mind's eye. Now, some people can do this without closing their eyes. I can't. I need to close my eyes to do these kind of things. So close your eyes. Don't worry, I'm still going to be here. Go into this green and orange bubble. And you can imagine that these colors are mixing, and it may shift, and it may be more green or it may be more orange. I just want you to stay in this place in your mind's eye and just feel, what does it feel like to be in the combination of these two energy centers that are yours? These are your energy centers. Does this feel good? Does this feel uncomfortable? Now, as we're in this place, I want you to imagine that there is a door. Whatever this door looks like, take note of it. And it can be different from the last time, if you join me for these meditations, it doesn't have to look the same. Is this door, does it have a handle? And how are you going to enter through this threshold? Does it open itself or do you walk in? And as you walk into this space in your mind's eye, right, we're using creative imagination right now. This was something that Carl Jung really brought to the forefront, this ability that our imagination has to heal us on a cellular level. And this has been proven. So you guys, I want you to go deep with this. As the door opens, what do you see in front of you? Because this is going to be the landscape of your creative space. This is where we're coming to purify your intent. Now, this week, I pulled a very specific card before I did the weekly woo. And what I pulled was a card that was all about the higher self and how right now, in all of this time of chaos and change, that we are really being called upon to go within, to not seek the answers from outside, because there are 1,000 different answers for every single question. That we are to be going inside and listening to ourselves. So when you enter in to these kind of spaces, this is what you're doing. So with our intention, we are now going to ask that our highest self, our higher self, or our higher power manifest for us in this space with our eyes closed in this energetic space that we've created. With our intention alone, that's all we have to do. We intend to meet our highest self. So just notice, as soon as you make that intention, just that thought, that simple thought, immediately there will be some sort of being or entity, animal, magical being that will approach you. And take some time and really acknowledge, how does this make you feel? If this is your first time doing this kind of work, it could be scary. It could make you nervous. But oftentimes what we experience when we connect with these deeper parts of ourselves is bliss. So feel whatever you're feeling and let's keep going. So this highest self of you, this higher self that is guiding you all the time, has now presented itself to you in some way. Some people could see this as Jesus. If you were raised Christian, that could come up, right? Depending on your religious beliefs that you had as a child or that you have now, that's what could come up. That's all good. Follow it. And this part of you is now going to take you to a sacred space within this energetic space that you've created. Now, as it's taking you to this sacred space, I want you to think about, what is the thing that you want the most in your life? That could be career success, right? That could be a love relationship. That could be a new car, right? It could be anything, but think about what is it? What is the one thing you want in your life? And maybe you've wanted it for a long time, you haven't got it, maybe this is a new desire. Whatever it is, what is that one thing that you feel is most important to you, that you most want, that you feel you don't have? And I want you to imagine that you sit with this higher self and you say to them, you show them, maybe through an image, or maybe you actually speak to them and you speak out, or you give them some sort of energetic image as to what this thing is that you want. And you can imagine that you place it in like a bubble. How we created this bubble of light that you're in, you can imagine that you place this wish, this dream of yours in a bubble, and you give it to your highest self. Now, this is all about purification. So what we're trying to check is what you want aligned with your highest self and with the highest version of your life that you could have? So what does this highest self, higher self, what is this part of you? This part of you that is like all-knowing, what does it do with this bubble, this wish that you've shown it? Now, for me, sometimes I show mine and to my higher self and it's destroyed. And that's how you know, okay, something's off. My intentions are off with this. This isn't actually something that would bring me fulfilling and lasting happiness. So just pay attention to what they do. And now if it could be something that they take in and they expand upon it, your higher self, or if it's something that they take and it's destroyed in a way, they're going to give you another vision, another version. And just acknowledge what they do. Now, this part of yourself has a very special gift for you. As it's showing you what works about this dream, what doesn't work about this dream, there's also a gift it's going to give you. And you can go back to this part of yourself at any time, right? You don't have to walk through the door, but you can. If it feels good to take that journey to it, great. But now that you've made this connection, you can see it in your mind's eye at any time and be able to connect with this benevolent, incredible part of you. There's a gift. And this gift is some sort of object or symbol. Always these parts of ourselves, they speak in symbols to us. So accept what it is that they've given. And I also want you to, if the bubble of what you want was accepted by your higher self, this is a place where you can now come and ask, okay, well, what do I need to do to bring this into my life? You can ask these questions and then you will hear in your heart the answers to those questions. Now, if that's hard, if you're new to this kind of work, something that you can do is actually journal after these visualizations, after these meditations. You immediately then go to a piece of paper and write down what you saw, what was given to you, what they said, right? So this kind of meditation, it's really creative visualization. This is creative imagination that we use to access parts of ourselves that through modern living and what we call, productive evolution has actually sort of separated us from all this wisdom that is within each and every one of us. So that is a lot about what I teach and how I work with people one-on-one. Connecting to this highest self, there's something you can do every single morning to actually live this relationship 24/7, and I want to encourage you to do it. It's simply to say, I align with my highest self. And I align with my highest vibrational path. I align my will with the will of my highest self. Because the truth is, if there are things that we want that are not aligned with our highest self, we can do as much magic, visualizing, manifestation, whatever as we want, but it won't come forth. The key is to shift your will into what your higher self wants for you. So I know that in Christianity, it was often this idea was spoken as like, align my will with God's will. What is God's will? Sometimes people don't like that word God. I know I didn't for a very long time. So I use highest self. And also my highest self kind of shifts based on where I'm at in my life. So purification. Right now, the sun, as we're entering like the end of summer, there's this peak in heat. And we can use it. We can leverage it. It doesn't have to be this thing that we're like, oh my God, it's so hot and there's fires and it's terrible. We can actually harness this energy. So you can actually imagine, as there are sort of fires all over the globe right now, if there are things that you want to get rid of, you can actually call upon the element of fire in your mind's eye and imagine the fire, because it's happening now on the planet. The fire element is really at a peak. We as humans can harness all the elements. It's kind of like, I don't know, like Avatar, that movie, that TV show. My son loves it. Harnessing the elements is a part of our gifts as humans. So you can imagine that you're calling upon that spirit of fire, and you see it before you in your mind's eye, the fire. And you can imagine whatever pain or heartbreak or confusion, whatever question or desires for things that you know are not good for you, that being bad habits, that being wanting revenge, whatever it is that you know weighs you down. You, again, imagine putting it in a bubble, putting it in an energetic bubble and sending it into the flames and then watching it burn. This is something that we can do right now as this fire energy is peaking. Now, another thing that you can imagine doing as we're speaking about fire is using the violet flame. And this is something that you can use all year long, whether fire's peaking or not. The violet frequency is the highest frequency as far as color and vibration that humans can actually perceive. So this is something that we want to use because high vibration cancels out the low vibration. When you sit in your mind's eye, you sit in a violet flame or like a violet bonfire, you are literally purifying every layer of your being. So oftentimes if I'm in a really big funk, because I get in funks, I imagine that I'm sitting in a violet flame, or if I'm dealing with someone who's problematic or high conflict, before I deal with them, I imagine putting a violet flame around them, that they be purified as well. Now, the next thing that you can do is these goals, these dreams, these things that you want to manifest, you can also visualize, put them in a bubble, and put them in the violet flame and see what happens. If the violet flame dissolves it, maybe this isn't good for you, what it is you're wanting for yourself. If it remains within the violet flame, then this is something that is good for you. So you can do this with people, places, things, foods, liquids, clothes, music, anything. You put it in a bubble, put it in the violet flame, and see what happens, right? Again, we access these elements that we, in many ways, have dominion over. So next thing about purification. Drinking water. That's a no-brainer, right? But if you charge the water that you're drinking and you amplify its ability to purify and cleanse you by literally programming it, you can write purification, purify, cleanse on your cup. You can put it on a Post-it note and put it on your water, and literally the water charges to that intention. It's even more powerful if you hold it and with your intention say to yourself, this water will purify me in mind, body, and spirit on every level. It will cleanse me of XYZ when I drink it. You hold a moment, you visualize that cleansing happening, and you drink it. Next, purification. When the sun is this powerful right now, and there's a lot of people who believe that we were in a solar minimum and we're coming out of the solar minimum, but we're also having a lot of solar flares and activities, so nobody really knows what the sun is doing right now, is the truth. But one thing that we can do to purify our intentions, right, and our will, is to use the energy of the sun. Now, there is a belief that the sun is like the physical manifestation of the Archangel Michael. And if you're into angels or you work with them, then you know what that means. But if you're not, I'll tell you a little bit of Archangel Michael. He is an archangel that is all about courage. He is the warrior angel fighting darkness at every level. In Christianity, but also many other religions have Archangel Michael in them. So anything that I see that actually is in all the major religions, I kind of go, maybe we should pay attention to that. So the archangels are one of those things. So the energy of the sun has the power to, well, it gives us all the energy that we need, and it is our energetic source. But when you use it with intention, it can purify. So this is a reason why people put their crystals out in the sun. You put your water out in the sun to charge it. It amplifies its ability to hold your intention. We are 70 to 80% water, if not more, depending on what your age is. So when you actually bring intention to your relationship with the sun, you can grasp even more benefits from it. So one of the ways that we do this is simply, you look at the sun. Please don't hurt your eyes. You can close your eyes and do this as the sun is on you. May the sun illuminate my heart, that my heart may illuminate the world. May the sun illuminate my heart, that my heart may illuminate my path. Very simple. So I do this, if I can, every morning. It's simply connecting you to the star that keeps you alive. Now, if you've watched my videos and you listen to me, you know I'm all about connecting with everything, because everything is connected. So I talk a lot about having a personal relationship with the earth and the energy that is the earth. I now want to talk about having a personal relationship with the sun. So the sun, right? If you connect with it, you will have a desire. The more that you do this intention every morning, you will have a desire to get to know its energy more. And this can look like many things, but one amazing thing to do, and this goes back into creative imagination, is to imagine in your mind's eye that you actually travel to the sun, your spirit, your soul, your energy. And the CIA has just confirmed that we can all do this. It's called astral traveling. You guys Google that so much. You imagine that you were going into the sun. And what is that like? And because you're pure energy and the sun is pure energy, you can commune with it. And what is it like on the outside? What is it like on the inside? And then what is its message to you? This is something I love to do at the beach, which leads me to the next step of purification. When you are around natural bodies of water, specifically the ocean, there is a point in our body, as we were talking, we had our hand here and our hand down here. This place between our belly button, 2 inches below our belly button, and like 2 inches inside of our body, it's called the Dantian point in Qigong. But this is also very much our sacral chakra. This point in our body is kind of like our own black hole. So this is a little advanced, and I'm not going to get too deep into it. I'm just going to talk about how we can use the ocean to cleanse our Dantian and our entire energetic system. And then we can start talking Qigong later, probably first for patrons. So you are in front of the ocean, sitting or standing, and you imagine that you are sucking in the power of the ocean into your Dantian point. Now, for me, as soon as I start doing this, I feel the energy go up my spine, down my spine, and sort of it does this wild, the energy of the ocean does its own thing. It cleanses my entire magnetic field. Because remember, every particle of water is also a magnetic field because they have poles. They have north and south poles, positive and negative poles. So the entire ocean is like this huge magnetic field. When you pull it in, you're literally using its energy, which is ancient and all powerful. It's the most powerful thing on our planet, to cleanse your entire energetic system. When you pull it into the Dantian point, it actually opens the point as it cleanses everything else. Then you take a moment, now that your Dantian is completely open, you breathe into the heart, and then you exhale anything you want to let go of into the Dantian point. And it basically, that's it. It neutralizes it. It's a little advanced technique. Sorry if it's over your head. If you have questions, list them now, because we're going to have a question and answer. The other thing about working with the ocean to purify is to imagine these, especially if there's problems you're working with, imagine you put them in a bubble. If the world wasn't so polluted, I'd even say write it down and put it in a glass bottle and like send it out, but I would advise against that now. We have to clean up the ocean, not put more things in it. You imagine you put that problem, that person, that confusion, that question, that desire into this bubble, right? The same bubble you're working with you put it into the fire, that you give it to your higher self. It's always about putting a boundary around the wish, the desire, the problem, the issue. And then you send it out into the ocean in your mind's eye. Send it all the way as deep as it can go. And you allow the energy of the ocean to take it. And then it's no longer yours to hold. And it's incredible what happens when you start working with these energies that we have dominion over, and we've forgotten how to work with them and use them. I mean, this is home base, and home base is filled with allies, filled with energy that is here to help us create heaven on earth. That's what we're supposed to do here. Okay. Let me see if there's anything else about purification. Of course, I'm always teaching this, the purification of, if you have a problem with someone, conflict with someone, you write them a letter and really let them have it on this letter. Get it all out. And then burn it. And then I even say, sometimes I say to people that I work with, like if it's a real problem, then I say bury the ashes. But really all you have to do is burn it. The purification of, the word is the wand, and burning those words also purifies you of all the negativity that you've held. So you write out all of the negativity, you get it all down on paper, and it's then out of you, right? That's very similar to putting it in a bubble. You're putting it on the paper becomes the bubble, and then you burn it. I really hope that this is still